Hello everyone and welcome back to SaiyanSquabbles. I am yours truly, Papa Ping Pong. Very, very excited today to bring you a very unique, I suppose, piece of content for the channel. Today we are featuring Joey from Cross Worlds TCG on... we got some footage in the background, recording some Set 10 gameplay, and we're just going to ask him some questions. How are you doing, Joey?
Hey guys, how y'all doing? I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy with the pandemic going on. Thanks for having me on, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So, if you guys are not already subscribed to Joey, you're fools. Please subscribe. He's probably the best competitive content creator out there, in my personal opinion.
Appreciate that.
No problem. Gotta stroke you a little bit here, but so. Without further ado, we'll get right into it. So, first question I got for you is, where did you get your start with DBSCG?
So, I was always a Yu-Gi-Oh player since I was a kid, and then I pretty much never grew out of it. Like, I remember my cousins kind of making fun of me, like, when are you going to grow out of cards? Like, this is like middle school, like getting into high school. And then, towards the end of high school, I started getting into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I moved from New Jersey to Boston for college, got into Yu-Gi-Oh! There, and I know I'm talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! A bunch, but it kind of has to do with it. But anyways, I was getting really fed up with Yu-Gi-Oh! And me and my best friend went to our local card store and we saw the Dragon Ball packs for set 2, it was, of DBS. And, you know, a lot of times in Yu-Gi-Oh! People use, like, other cards that look cool from other games as, like, tokens. So we just bought the Dragon Ball packs, not really thinking much of it. Opened the packs, the cards were beautiful. Like, the first card I pulled that really caught my eye was the 6-drop Trunks. It's SS2 Trunks from the Zamasu Saga. Constant Hope or Final Hope, I think it's called. But anyways, pulled that card, and then we were both like, oh, we gotta learn how to play. We just have to. So went home, basically bought 2 starter decks, and started playing, and that was my start in the game.
Yeah, my start's very similar. My buddy and I, we each saw a starter deck for set 3, and we were like, this looks like a dumb gimmicky game. Let's try it, and then we fell in love. So, yeah.
The game is just so solid, like mechanically, like. It really is like a resource game, and then now that the game's evolved, it's like it's added in tempo, so it really is like an overall great card game.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. So moving on to our next question, what do you think the next step is for DBS as far as reaching out to new players?
I've thought about this a lot, and it's really hard. So one of the things I thought about was like somehow reaching out to just, you know, regular Dragon Ball fans, because one of the things I actually hear a lot, whether it's like random people I'm talking to or going to events, or even people on like my Patreon, they've gone into the game because they just like Dragon Ball, and they decided, oh, I saw the card game and I want to try it out, and they're hooked. So I think if we can do more of that, like reaching just straight up Dragon Ball fans, maybe showing them the card game, I think that could be a really good way to do it.
Like maybe some promotional cards for the anime and stuff like that, like they did with Heroes.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah, I mean, if you get like maybe the box set, which I don't even know if anyone buys box sets of, you know, anime anymore, but if they do, get a promotional card. They were doing ads. I know they're doing ads for DBS, the card game, on like DBS Legends or DBS Dokkan. So stuff like that could work. You know, running commercials maybe through the anime, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's all Bandai, so I hope Bandai, you know, kind of thinks it's a good idea too, and maybe does a little more of that in the future. One of the things actually that might help is when Super comes back, which I believe is in the works. I don't think there's been any like official info on like when it's going to air and stuff, but as far as I'm aware, like Super is going to come back at some point, so that could definitely help get new players in as well, I think.
Yeah, I believe that's true. I think I've heard like they've never denied Super coming back, they've just never said when it's coming back, but
right.
I'm okay if they take their time.
Yeah, definitely. Quality is definitely warranted.
Yeah. So, with the release of Draft Box 6 coming in a few months, what should they change about their design philosophy to make it accessible to new players?
So, it's really interesting because the way that the rarities were in the earlier sets, like I would say between sets 3 and like 6 roughly, it was way too easy to pull the good cards, and actually a lot of the good cards were like in the common slot, in the rare slot, so there was no value in the game, and that actually impacts Bandai sales. Like if all the good cards are easy to get, no one's going to buy the product. So that hurts the longevity of the game, which is something I don't think people always think about. But nowadays, it is a little bit too backwards in the sense that the SRs from draft boxes are very, very difficult to get. And I think it's a lot of things. I think it's like how much they print. They go by stores pre-orders, and I'm actually really surprised that, like, you know, for everyone saying that DB5 was very, very short printed, like they're going off of the pre-order numbers from stores. And if stores weren't able to recognize how popular DB4 was, which literally, like, at my locals and I know all over the country, it flew off the shelves. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping that stores realize that it is a really popular product. But I would like to see them either drop the SRs, the number of SRs in the set, or increase the SR pull rate would be nice.
Yeah, I think that's honestly drop the amount of SRs, or like you said, just make it up to 9 in a box instead of 6 to 7. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, they have to find a happy medium where, you know, cards can find like a good SR should be somewhere between 10 and $20, but once you get to the 30, 40, 50 range, it's you are asking a lot from the players for sure.
So, next question: with Gogeta 7 gone, what card do you think should be looked at for an errata or ban next?
Man, Gogeta 7 was one of the biggest problems I had with the game, and not for any reason. Like, it was never really tier 0. Like, there were formats where it was dominant, but it was never really tier 0. But I just didn't like the fact that it was a boss monster that kind of just came down and ended the game in most cases. Like sure, you could trample the Trickster, sure, you could Mutaito it, but a lot of times it set your opponent back so far that it really was the card that came down and ended the game. And it was also a card that whenever a format went from like aggro to, like, you know, turn 4, 5, 6, Gogeta 7 was always the first card that people talked about. Like when Red Yellow Surge Goku came out, and then people were playing the tricolor version. It went from one tournament in Chicago to the next tournament in Florida. Gogeta 7 was in every build because it just ended the game outright. So I think cards that do that are the cards to look at. And to be honest, right now, I don't necessarily think that there are too many that do that at the moment. Like, Gogeta 7 was the big one. Titan Mastery is not really popular right now. Victory Strike is questionably popular, but I don't think they'll ever ban that because of the price tag.
Right.
The other thing, too, is, like, now people are kind of scared of this Red-Blue Invoker deck coming out with the new Goku that drops the burn damage on turn 5. So that could be something to look at, but I would definitely wait until the format kind of develops, because I don't know, I'm not too scared of that deck because that Goku kind of falls into a lot of counterplays. But I'm going on a tangent now, so maybe the U7 burn deck would kind of be the one to look at next.
Yeah, I know you're not a big fan of Catastrophic Blow, so
very, very much not a big fan. I strongly dislike that strategy.
Yeah, I think that even Secret Rares, like, the design philosophy, they're really going for combo strategies now. Like, Secret Rares don't really finish games. Like, they finish games, but they're not... Decks aren't really built around them as much, except for, you know, like, Victory Strike, and that's really it. So, to my knowledge, anyways. But
I mean, it's a combination. Like, for example, like, some people are playing the new red Yamcha leader in set 10. They're playing it with the red-green Secret Rare because, you know, it's automatic burn damage. But then you have a card like Smoke Dragon, which I like Smoke Dragon a lot because, like you said, it doesn't end the game as soon as it comes down, but it puts you in a winning position. But there are also counters to it. So I like a Secret Rare design like that for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So, next question. What is your favorite arc from the Dragon Ball franchise?
My favorite arc from the Dragon Ball franchise. So I'm a big Gohan fanboy, and my friends constantly give me crap for it. Like, they're all really Vegeta fans. I like Vegeta a lot too, but I'm a Gohan fanboy, so I really like the Cell games. I liked when, you know, Gohan fought Cell, and I'm a really big fan of actually when Gohan fought Super Buu too. And I'm also a Future Trunks fan, so Future Trunks' whole arc in Super and in Dragon Ball Z were awesome.
Yeah, my favorite is probably, honestly, the new Moro arc. I don't know if you're reading the manga. I think is really good, but
I haven't been reading the manga, but I've been keeping up with what's been happening. So yeah, it is pretty awesome.
But I do agree, Cell games or probably the Future Trunks saga is one of my favorites.
Gotta stop hating on my boy Gohan for everyone out there listening.
So, next question. What archetype do you think is on the cusp of being meta relevant?
On the cusp. One of the ones I always think about was Mono Black Demigra. Like, it was always one of the really strong aggro decks, but now with Turles being gone, I'm kind of thinking about how to change it to like a more mid-range deck. So, I don't know. That one we'll have to wait and see. Besides that, on the cusp of being meta, I don't know. I think U7 Invoker's there because I think going into set 10, a lot of people kind of discredited U7 Invoker, and I'm actually one of those people. I don't think it's going to be that great because it doesn't really interact with unisons in any meaningful way. But with the new burn damage strategy on turn 5, it could possibly come back into meta relevancy. But monocolor in general, I think, is gonna make a big splash, because obviously before this we were mostly in a multicolor format. But it's gonna be cool to see how monocolor mixes in with the multicolor stuff.
Yeah, I agree. It's really hard to say with Invoker. I think set 9 period is really hard to say, because we didn't really get the full extent of a set 9 meta before everything started happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Invoker with this new strat, if Unison it is not as great as I expect it to be, which it's going to be, it will
for sure.
It will definitely be relevant. But so, if you can see any leader see meta play, what would it be?
I'm actually really big into WMAT Goku right now. I think that it's really good with the Bardock Unison, because it's the only leader in the game that really has a 1-drop that says your opponent discards a card. So you play that on 1, you play Bardock Unison on 2, start ripping your opponent's hand. And the leader's backside is actually really powerful. You attack, you're a 20k swinger, which has always been really good. And if you KO a battle card, you restand. So the leader actually gives you a lot of value for considering how old it is.
Would you also say it's on the cusp of being meta?
I'd say it's possible. It's one of the ones that I'm definitely messing around with, and it's been giving promising results. So I would say it's on the cusp, yeah.
Okay. Your consistency with DBS content is almost unmatched on the platform. What does a session of recording look like for you?
So it's actually kind of funny. So I usually put a video together on like Google Slides. So I used to just go on like Shenron's Lair and upload a bunch of cards and just like talk, but it was a lot less interesting because there wasn't anything going on in the video. It was just me talking to a screen that wasn't moving. So I started doing the Google Slides thing probably a few months ago, maybe last year, and that's working out really well. But so yeah, it's that. It's I have a few notes down of what I want to talk about, and then I kind of just freeform it. Like, I don't really read off a script. I've tried it in the early stages of the channel. I did a few scripted videos, and it just felt like very unnatural. I felt my voice was very monotone. So I kind of have the notes, and then I go off from there. And then I hit record, I make my thumbnail, upload, and it's good to go for the week.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very genuine with a script. It feels fake, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely takes a skill, because there are some, like, I play League of Legends, and I watch YouTubers, and sometimes they read off scripts, and you could tell it's a script, but they deliver it very well still. Just for me, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think part of it comes with experience too, just having to do it for a while.
For sure.
So, I hear you talk a lot about your great tournament experiences. Can you give me an example of your worst?
My worst tournament experience. So I felt really, really bad at this last year's Nationals. So I played SS2 Go On, which was like, you know, I was probably the only player in the room playing.
Yeah, I saw that. Poor guy.
Yeah. I mean, so I played that deck. I wanted to play the blue-yellow stuff, and Broly was obviously the powerhouse leader to play it with. But I played Go On, like, not just to meme around. Like, I played it because I wanted to be advantaged in the aggro matchups, because Demigra aggro is popular. The mirror match could be relatively aggressive, so I didn't want to be Broly in the sense that I didn't want to have to take life to gain card advantage. I wanted to gain card advantage and let my opponent attack my life. The problem was, and actually I tested that deck for months. You could ask any of my teammates. I practiced that deck for months and months and months, and I was having such good results in testing. And come Nats, I play 5 Shenrons in a row. I thought I had a game plan for Shenron, and I just got wrecked. So.
Yeah, sometimes the game is
very
RNG.
sour experience.
At the end of the day, it is RNG, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
So, because the way you explained it, and I saw the deck profile about it, I'm like, that actually seems really effective. I'm upset it didn't work.
The deck was solid, man. I now knowing what I know now, I actually would have had a different game plan to go against Shenron, but I just didn't have the game. I didn't have the knowledge back then. There was a good tech card I could have went with, but I didn't go with it.
Yeah. So what leader do you still want to see the most that hasn't been printed, and how would you like the playstyle to be?
A Pycon deck would be pretty sick. I feel like it would probably just be aggro, because Pycon in the Janemba movie, he's just all in your face, like super fast. When he yells at Janemba, that part is hilarious. But so that would be pretty sick. Pycon, I think, is really cool. Future Gohan leader would be awesome. I'm a big Gohan fan, big Future Trunks fan, so Future Gohan is right up my alley. That would probably, I mean, personally, I'm a mid-range player till I die. So if future Gohan could somehow be mid-range, that would definitely be my cup of tea.
It's kind of criminal the amount of future Gohan cards we don't have.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised we have as much as we do. I mean, we're getting a super combo in set 10. We have the combo into play, and then we have the counterplay, which for such a niche character, I mean, it's cool. But yeah, I definitely could use some more.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what are your thoughts on the campaign rares?
Campaign rares. So I like them. It's really weird though, because in sets that they've been good, they've been like, somewhat pricier cards. Like I think Earthstrike Kamehameha is like a $15 card right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Angel rares from DB5, they're anywhere from like $10 to $20 depending on how good they are, and they're cool. I think it's basically another way to just make more high rarity cards, but I don't know. I feel like I kind of have mixed emotions on them. I think they're cool, and I think it's nice that there's a guaranteed number per box. I don't think they're doing campaign rares in set 10 though. Is that right?
Yeah, this is the first set in like probably 4 or 5 sets, not even including like draft boxes and stuff. I think that they're not doing it.
Yeah, so I don't really think people will miss them. They definitely ups the SR count, but I mean, if you think about it, it kind of takes place of the campaign rares.
Mm-hmm.
So they should balance out, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. So, is there a ruling that you have ever disagreed with and or still disagree with?
So the ruling that I really wish they would kind of just get rid of is counter window 1, counter window 2. I really wish they would just make it all one window. Like, so when you're going to hard cast a card, there's only one window. You have one chance to respond to it, and that's it. When you're going to play a card by a skill, there's counter window 1, counter window 2. I kind of wish they would just, activate the effect, attempt to play the card they're going to play, and right then and there, that's the counter window. It would make sense for all the cards. It would technically be like you're hard casting it. You're basically revealing the card before you're actually putting it into play. So Cold Bloodlust stops it dead right there. Crusher Ball, Giant Ball, all that good stuff. I really wish it would just be one counter window. I think it would clear up a lot of confusion with some cards, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's kind of like I played a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Never got like competitive with it, but it kind of reminds me of chain linking, and a lot of people don't really, still to this day, don't really understand how chain linking works. I watched a video about it on I think DZEF's channel. I think
DZ, yeah. DZ.
I don't know how to say that, but and it's kind of like that. And to one of my good buddies who I was just testing with earlier, he's super good at the game, like super good, but it's one of the few things that still trips him up is how counter timing works. And
yeah, it's one of the more confusing things, and like you said, like chain link in Yu-Gi-Oh is very complicated in certain scenarios. So I think it's a needless mechanic, or I guess not a mechanic. I think it's a needless way to go about counters when it could all just be simplified into one window. I think it would work out really well.
Mm-hmm. So what set do you think is the set that defined the direction that DBS is going?
It's really interesting. I think that multicolor really. So a lot of people will take a lot of these mechanics, and they'll say it's like a ripoff of Magic or a ripoff of some other game, right? And they say nothing's original, but there are ways to put spins on things that keep them fresh. And I think Dragon Ball's done a really good job of that. So like I still remember when Overwhelm came out in set 2, like that was really different. That actually changed the game entirely because for the first time ever we had cards that costed no energy. And then with multicolors, I felt like that was really iconic for the game. Like, not having a turn 1, so like. This game, for example, doesn't really follow a curve too much. Mm-hmm. This game, Dragon Ball, is like you have some of your free play stuff, you have some things you'll spend energy for, and then you have things you want to use for counterplays. So this game doesn't necessarily follow a curve in that sense, and I like that about the game. Like you don't necessarily have to hit your curve to win. You have the right defense, you play the cards right, you mulligan correctly, that all works out. But now Unisons, I mean, people will call it a Planeswalker ripoff, but the way they operate, it really feels good in Dragon Ball, so I'm a big fan of that. I think slowly but surely Dragon Ball is becoming its own thing with every set.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Especially they're really dipping their toes more and more, starting with set 7 with like Arrival and stuff, into making the combo phase what makes the game really stand out, in my opinion. The combo phase is just so unique to this game. It's kind of really interesting how they made your hand has never really mattered more in a card game.
For sure, yeah, it's so cool because every card that has combo power matters. It's really sick. Like, we're getting all these new unique cards like that are multicolor 10K combos or extra cards that are really powerful. But at the end of the day, how many 5Ks you have in your deck still matters, which is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So, what is your favorite card game outside of Dragon Ball Super?
Outside of Dragon Ball, I'd probably have to go with Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because it's the one I'm most familiar with. Although I'm really not a huge fan of Konami, the company that runs the game. I feel like they really just don't care about the player base. But I guess intrinsically, like just my childhood memories and stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is up there. I'm not a huge fan of Pokemon. I think it's somewhat like chess, but at the same time, there's no interaction, and I don't really like that. Magic is okay. I've played it. I'm not a huge fan. I really don't like the artwork, which is kind of petty to say, it seems like, but I'm not a fan of the artwork, and the wording on the cards is kind of clunky, so I guess it would have to be Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay. My issue with Pokemon is, it's actually kind of funny you bring this up. I actually just had someone come over the other day to try to teach me like how to properly play, and it seems like there's way too much of a momentum swing when your opponent starts to get advantage.
Like one card that says draw 7, it's like crazy.
Not only that, it's when you deal damage, you get rewarded, not your opponent. Like, your opponent doesn't have a chance, like DBS. That's why I'm such a big fan of the life system in DBS. Like, a huge fan of how it works.
Totally agree with you. Totally.
All right, and my final question for you today. Can I look forward to facing you at Nats?
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we got paired up. That'd be really sick. I mean, I hope with everything going on, there is a Nationals. Whether they have to push it back or, maybe they can keep it to like the October-November range. But I really hope that we still have a Nats. It might end up being open invite just because, obviously most of the regionals had to be canceled. So yeah, we'll see what goes on with that, and I hope to play against you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But thank you so much for coming on today. I'm a huge fan, and again, I said at the beginning of the video, everyone that got this far, if you're not subscribed to him, once again, probably the best competitive content maker on the platform. If you want to get into, even introduced to how the fundamentals of the game works, go subscribe to him, and you post 5 videos a week, right?
Yes, 5 videos a week, and then I try to do 1 to 2 Patreon articles a week as well.
And 7 a.m. I only know because of my sleep schedule. But yeah, so once again, thank you so much for coming on, Joey.
Thank you, and make sure to subscribe to SaiyanSquabbles.
Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.
Later.
See ya.